working to connect a region of over 600 cultural bridges between our lands.
Hello and welcome to ASEAN in Focus. I'm Nea Mangawang, delivering to you the latest news in and around the ASEAN region. On today's headlines. 6 junior police officers were killed while 9 others were wounded in a misencounter Monday morning between patrolling cops and soldiers in Santa Rita, Samar. A children's football team have been trapped in a flooded cave in northern Thailand. And Indonesian ride-hailing firm Gojek to launch businesses in Vietnam and Thailand under the names of GoViet and Get, respectively. Six junior police officers were killed while 9 others were wounded in a misencounter Monday morning between patrolling cops and soldiers in San Roque Village, Santa Rita, Samar. Army's 8th Infantry Division spokesperson Captain Francis Agno said 17 soldiers of the 87th Infantry Battalion based in Calbiga, Samar incidentally engaged in a clash with a team from the 805th Company of the Philippine National Police Regional Mobile Force Battalion. Both teams were conducting patrol in Sitio Lunoy, San Roque Village past 9 a.m. In a statement issued late Monday night, Agno said after the skirmishes, First Lieutenant Orlando Casipit Jr. and his troops discovered that the unit involved in the encounter belongs to the PNP unit under Chief Inspector Don Ari Suspinye, who also operated on the same location. Killed and wounded during the encounter are all junior police officers of one of the PNP's elite force trained in anti-insurgency operations. No one was hurt from the military. According to Army's 8th Infantry Division Commander, Major General Raul Farnacio, a joint, thorough and impartial investigation is being conducted and that the Army and the PNP are fully cooperating to shed light on the incident. The casualties have been identified, but the names are yet to be officially released, pending notification of their next of kin. The PNP Eastern Visayas Regional Office has not yet issued any statement on the incident. Santa Rita has been identified as one of the areas in the region infested by the new People's Army. The town is just 30 kilometers away from Tacloban, crossing the San Juanico Bridge. A dramatic underwater rescue mission to find a children's football team who have been trapped in a flooded cave for 2 days was underway in northern Thailand. The Deputy Governor of Chiang Rai Province said divers have reached a large chamber of the vast cave inside which the 12 boys and their coach are believed to be stuck. The children, aged between 11 and 16, entered Tham Luang Cave in a national park near the Myanmar and Lao borders with their coach on Saturday. One of their mothers raised the alarm when her son did not return from football training that evening. Heavy monsoon rains have hit the region in recent days, causing the cave to rapidly fill with water, and bicycles and shoes belonging to the boys were found soon afterwards at the cave's entrance. The rescue operation started on Saturday night but was suspended overnight, during which time water levels inside the cave rose dramatically, requiring divers to pass through muddy and flooded sections of the cave. Malaysian Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad said Monday he wants to renegotiate a quote-unquote ridiculous water supply agreement with Singapore, the latest sign of fraying ties between the neighbors since last month's shock election. The 92-year-old returned for a second time as premier after his opposition alliance scored an unexpected victory at the polls, toppling a long-ruling coalition which Mahathir himself had once headed. During his first spell in charge of the country from 1981 to 2003, Malaysia had famously prickly ties with Singapore, and Mahathir has wasted no time in taking aim at the tiny city-state again. In his latest salvo, he said it was manifestly ridiculous that Kuala Lumpur sells water for 3 Malaysian cents, equivalent to less than 1 US cent, per 1,000 gallons to its resource-poor neighbor under a decades-old agreement. Mahathir said that was okay way back in the 1990s or 1930s, but now there is nothing you can buy with 3 cents. Asked about plans to renegotiate the water supply agreement, he said they are studying the case properly and they'll make a presentation. Much of Singapore's water comes from Malaysia's southern state of Johor. Under a 1962 agreement, Singapore can draw up to 250 million gallons of water per day from the Johor River. Singapore's foreign ministry, meanwhile, said in a statement that the water deal was guaranteed by both governments as part of an agreement which underpinned their division into separate states in 1965. The neighbors were part of the same country for 2 years from 1963, but it was a stormy union, and Singapore was expelled from the Malaysian Federation as tensions mounted over ethnic issues. Relations in subsequent decades were punctuated by occasional bickering on many occasions over the water supply issue. But they were largely warm under the previous Malaysian government led by scandal-mired Najib Razak. However, ties already look rocky since Mahathir's return to office. In just a few weeks, he has put a planned high-speed railway linking Kuala Lumpur to Singapore on hold and announced that Malaysia wants to develop an island on rocks at the entrance to the Singapore Strait, an area of great strategic importance to the city-state. Meanwhile, Canada has announced sanctions in coordination with the European Union against 7 senior Myanmar officials over the Rohingya crisis, accusing them of human rights violations, including killings and sexual violence. In a statement, Canada's foreign ministry said Canada and the international community cannot be silent because what's happening in Myanmar's Rakhine is ethnic cleansing, and those are crimes against humanity. The Myanmar officials, 5 army generals, a border guard commander, and a police commander, faced travel bans and asset freezes for their role in the crisis. The EU on Monday also hit 7 top Myanmar security officials with sanctions over the Rohingya crisis, accusing them of serious human rights violations, including killings and sexual violence. Myanmar's military has forced some 700,000 Rohingya Muslims out of Rakhine and across the border to Bangladesh since August 2017 in a brutal crackdown which UN officials say amounts to ethnic cleansing of the minority. The Buddhist majority country has branded the Rohingya as illegal immigrants. After a period of towing relations with Myanmar, after the country's military junta ceded power in 2011, the Rohingya crisis has seen the EU and Canada take a harder line with blacklisting the officials, the toughest step taken so far by Brussels and Ottawa.
Welcome to the garden. A world that recaptures the value of life, creating your moments, kindling your passion, worth reliving over and over. This is your world, your life, your garden.
From the Ecclesiastical District of Australia East, Happy 50th Anniversary of the Eagle Broadcasting Corporation!
Welcome back. Japan and Indonesia are cooperating in the South China Sea as China has increased militarization on reclaimed islands in international waters. During a visit that commemorated the 60th anniversary of diplomatic ties between the two countries, Kyodo News reported that Japanese Foreign Minister Taro Kono and his Indonesian counterpart, Retno Marsudi, agreed to a $23 million aid package. According to the report, the signed document includes agreements on economic cooperation, maritime security, and anti-terrorism policy. Maritime security was also discussed and is part of Japan's free and open Indo-Pacific strategy. The statement further said that both ministers expressed concern over the recent militarization in the South China Sea and further hope that the negotiation for an effective code of conduct can be concluded as soon as possible. Japan will assist Indonesia in the construction of ports and fishery facilities on Indonesia's outermost islands, including Natuna Island, located on the edge of the South China Sea. China has claimed as much as 90% of the international waters as its own within what it calls the 9-dash line that extends more than 1,200 miles from the Chinese mainland. In the meeting, Retno and Kono discussed, among other things, the possibility of establishing Indonesia as a production base for Japanese products. The Jakarta Post reported Monday the two sides also agreed to conclude talks on the general review of the Indonesia-Japan Economic Partnership Agreement, which began in 2008. Japan is Indonesia's second largest investor, and two-way trade reached $33 billion in 2016. Indonesian ride-hailing firm Gojek announced that it will launch businesses in Vietnam and Thailand under the names of GoViet and Get, respectively. They'll use a model that sees local founders run each business independently with backing from local partners and a Gojek mothership. TechCrunch reports that the Thai and Vietnamese entities will go live for customers from August. The plan is to initially launch motorbike and car-based services. Later, it may introduce services on demand, as it done with significant success in Indonesia. Gojek didn't provide a timeline for launches in its announcement, but a source with knowledge of the plans told TechCrunch that GoViet is likely to be up and running by August. Get in Thailand set to follow a month later. The Philippines launch will come next, but the time frame is currently unspecific and simply before the end of 2018. Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Sen inaugurated a multi-purpose terminal in the state-run Sihanoukville Autonomous Port, or PAS, on Monday after 3.5 years of construction. The Prime Minister said the listed PAS is the kingdom's largest and only deep-sea port that handles more than 70% of goods entering and leaving the country. It said a $74 million project included a 330-meter-long terminal with depth of 13.5 meters for bulk and general cargoes and a 200-meter-long terminal with depth of 7.5 meters for all exploration logistic bays. Hun Sen said this is a new achievement for Cambodia. He said that before, Cambodia's port could load shipments weighing only 10,000 tons, but now it is able to load shipments weighing up to 50,000 tons. Cambodian Minister of Public Works and Transport, Sun Chantol, said the multi-purpose terminal was a key economic path for good exchanges between Cambodia and other countries. The minister said in the last 5 years, containers throughout the pass rose an average of 12.6% per year. Pass is located in Preah Sihanouk province, some 230 kilometers southwest of capital Phnom Penh. Meanwhile, the ASEAN Center for Biodiversity, or ACB, with support from the European Union, has announced that it is calling on photography and nature enthusiasts to join Zooming In on Biodiversity, an ASEAN-wide photo competition promoting appreciation for the rich biodiversity of the ASEAN region through the art of photography. The competition, according to a press release, commemorates the 2018 International Day for Biological Diversity, themed celebrating 25 years of action for biodiversity. ACB is searching for powerful photographs related to the following areas of biodiversity: coastal and marine biodiversity, agro-biodiversity, wildlife species, urban biodiversity, and wetlands and peatlands. The contest is themed capturing the richness of biological resources in the ASEAN region, and the press release noted that the event is a major initiative under the ACB and EU Biodiversity Conservation and Management of Protected Areas in ASEAN or BCAMP project. Winners will have the opportunity to receive cash prizes and get their photos published in major ACB publications and exhibits. Registration is free and open to all citizens of the ASEAN region, namely Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, the Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam.
It is an intergovernmental regional center of excellence that facilitates cooperation.
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced, eagle news, because we live in interesting times.
Ako po si Governor Amy Marcos ng probinsya ng Ilocos Norte para sa Eagle Broadcasting po. Happy 50th anniversary. Happy birthday po sa inyong lahat.
Welcome back. The Indian Film Academy's or IIFA Annual Awards ceremony in Bangkok saw India's biggest stars descend on the Thai capital for a riotous evening filled with glamour and stunning dance routines. Take a look. Bollywood superstar Devi Kapoor was honored for her final role at India's Movie Awards in Bangkok, winning Best Actress at the celebration of dance, music and film just months after her shock death. Devi was considered one of the most influential Bollywood actresses of all time. Her death from accidental drowning in a Dubai hotel room bathtub aged 54 in February left the nation in stunned grief. Her widower, Pony Kapoor, said he has mixed emotions as he collected the gong on her behalf. The Best Actor, meanwhile, went to Irfan Khan, known internationally for his roles in blockbusters Life of Pi and Slumdog Millionaire. Khan bagged the award for his role in Hindi Medium, a film highly critical of India's class divide in which he plays a father trying to get his daughter into a prestigious school. With an audience of more than 850 million, the IIFA Awards, dubbed Bollywood's Oscars by some in the industry, is India's biggest media event. It is also one of the world's most watched annual entertainment shows held outside India to demonstrate Bollywood's global appeal. Meanwhile, football scarves, shirts, and eggshell art, World Cup swag has taken a quirky turn in Vietnam, where a retired school teacher is making mascot memorabilia from hollowed-out eggs meticulously crafted by hand. Take a look.
Tôi thường tôi làm tác phẩm này đó vì mục đích giáo dục nhiều hơn, chứ tôi không chủ trương rằng bán ra ngoài thị trường. Vì người ta biết rằng với một tác phẩm mà làm bằng vỏ trứng như nè thì ta nói là của một đồng mà công một vạn, bỏ công rất là nhiều. cái điều mà tôi thích gọi là bị lôi cuốn ở cái vỏ trứng ấy, là cái sự sáng tạo. Vì trước đây cũng như sau này thì không biết có người kế nghiệp không, chứ còn cái vỏ trứng này nó tạo cho chúng ta cái tinh thần sáng tạo, và trong khi làm thì chúng ta phải quan sát nó thật kỹ và làm rất cẩn thận từng chi tiết nhỏ.
And that is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated for the ASEAN region. I'm Nea Mangawang, always one with 25.